You ever hit play on a video and just wonder how it all works? I mean, how does this massive high-def file get from some server halfway across the world through the absolute chaos of the internet and pop up perfectly on your screen in like a second? Well, it's not just one thing. It's actually a whole series of really clever hacks. So let's dive in and see how they pull it off. Okay, so to really get how amazing this is, you first have to understand the scale of the problem we're trying to solve. Get this, a single, uncompressed video stream, and we're not even talking HD or 4K here, just standard definition, that alone takes up a mind-boggling 216 megabits per second. I mean, that's way more bandwidth than most of us even have at home. Right? So that's the big question. How in the world do we squeeze that gigantic stream through our, kind of tiny internet connection? The answer isn't just about getting faster Wi-Fi. It's about making the video file itself radically smaller and a whole lot smarter, all without us ever noticing the difference. So let's start here. We're dealing with what feels like an impossible video file. It's just fundamentally too big to send over the internet. You can't just throw more power at it. You have to get really, really clever. And this is where it gets super interesting. The very first trick they use to shrink that file, it has nothing to do with fancy code or powerful computers. Nope, it's all about hacking our own biology. It's about exploiting a weird little quirk in how your eyes actually see the world. All right, so this first big hack is called chroma subsampling. Now that sounds super technical, I know, but the basic idea behind it is actually pretty simple. It's all based on a biological shortcut that our vision takes all the time. So here's what you need to know. Any video signal can be split into two distinct parts. You've got luminance, which is basically all the brightness information. You can think of it as the black and white version of the image. And then you have chrominance, and that's all the color information. Being able to separate these two is the absolute key to the whole trick. Okay, so here's the secret. It turns out your eyes are way more sensitive to changes in brightness, light and shadow, than they are to changes in color. It's just how we're wired. This means you can literally throw away a huge amount of color data, and as long as that detailed brightness information is still there, your brain just fills in the blanks. It doesn't even notice what's missing. Let's break that down. A full-quality signal, what's called 444, gives every single pixel its own unique brightness and color data. But with this trick, with chroma subsampling, a format like 420 does something different. Every pixel still gets its own brightness value, but a whole block of 4 pixels has to share the same color information. The analogy here is perfect. Think of an artist using a super fine point pen for the detailed outline, that's the brightness, but then using a big, thick marker to fill in the color. You save a ton of data, and our eyes just can't tell the difference. All right, so that's trick number one. We've hacked our own vision to make each individual picture smaller. But a video isn't just one picture, right? It's thousands of them, one after another. So the next big trick is all about finding a way to compress the data across time. And this quote just nails the concept perfectly. Think about it. In most video scenes, not that much actually changes from one frame to the very next. Imagine someone talking to the camera. The background stays the same, their shoulders are still, really only their mouth is moving. So why on earth would you waste all that bandwidth sending the entire background over and over and over again 30 times a second? You wouldn't. So here's how they do it. It's a pretty clever process. First, the stream sends one full, high-quality picture. That's called a keyframe or an iframe. It's the perfect starting point. Then, for the next bunch of frames, the system only sends the differences, the pixels that actually moved or changed. These little updates are called p-frames. Your device, whether it's your phone or your TV, takes that original iframe, applies all the little changes from the p-frames, and boom, it reconstructs the next image. This goes on, and then every few seconds, the server sends a brand new iframe to reset the picture and keep everything sharp. And you've totally seen this happen. Have you ever tried to fast forward or skip ahead in a video, and for a second, everything just gets all blocky and gross? That's this system in action. Your player's trying to build a picture from those change frames, the p-frames, but it doesn't have the last full picture, the iframe, to base it on. It's basically lost, and it's just waiting for that next full keyframe to arrive so it can give you a clean image again. Okay, so we've made the file way, way smaller. Awesome. But now comes the next challenge. We have to actually send it across the internet. And let's be real. The internet is a chaotic, unpredictable mess. Data packets get lost, they get delayed, they show up in the wrong order. So how does our nice, neat video stream survive that journey? Well, it survives because we have a whole suite of specialized protocols that act like a high-tech logistics team. Their entire job is to manage the stream's journey, making sure all those little packets arrive safely and can be put back together in the right order on your end. So let's meet the crew. First, you've got RTSP. Think of this as the remote control. It's the protocol that tells the server, hey, play the video, or pause it, or stop. Simple. Next up is RTP. These are the delivery trucks. They take the actual video data, chop it into numbered packets, and send them on their way. The numbers are crucial for putting them back in order. And finally, you have RTCP. This is like the delivery feedback form. It's constantly sending messages back to the server, saying things like, hey, we lost packet 112, or things are getting a little jittery over here. This lets the server adjust things in real time to keep your stream smooth. Okay, we're at the final hurdle. We've got a small file, we've got a reliable delivery system, but how does a service like YouTube or Netflix handle millions of people all watching different things, all starting and stopping whenever they feel like it? How do they do that at scale? Yeah, the real problem here is on-demand access. You know, back in the day with broadcast TV, everyone watched the same thing at the same time. Easy. But now, every single one of us is our own broadcaster, starting a movie whenever we want. How do you build a server that can handle that without just completely falling over? Well, one of the most elegant solutions is something called staggered broadcasting. It's actually kind of genius in its simplicity. Instead of the server waiting for you to click play and then starting a whole new stream just for you, it's already broadcasting popular movies on a bunch of different channels. The only catch is that the start times are staggered, maybe by a minute or two. So what this means is, when you go to watch that movie and hit play, the system doesn't have to spin up a brand new personal stream. It just looks for the broadcast that's about to start and tunes you right in. For you, it feels totally instant, completely on demand. But for the server, it's way more efficient because it's just running a few scheduled broadcasts instead of thousands of individual ones. So let's just quickly recap this whole incredible journey. We started with this monster 216 megabit per second video file. Our first solution was to hack human vision with chroma subsampling. Then we compressed time itself using iframes and p-frames. After that, we managed the stream's chaotic delivery across the internet with a team of specialized protocols. And finally, we scaled it all up for millions of users with clever schemes like staggered broadcasting. You know, these core ideas are what made the entire HD streaming revolution possible. But today, we're looking at 8K, at photorealistic virtual reality streams. The amount of data we're talking about is just exploding all over again. And it makes you wonder, right? What are the new tricks the next generation of these clever hacks gonna have to look like to make that a reality?